no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raiders Rumors and News is presented by Manscaped. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, go get the best male grooming products on the market. All you got to do to get the hookup is go to manscaped.com/Raiders, where you can save 20% off and get free shipping. My favorite product, the Lawnmower 3.0. The product I'm wearing right now is the ball deodorant. I'll tell you a little bit more about these products coming up here. So right before I went live, we did have some breaking news that came down around Tyrell Williams. And Tyrell, he's done for the season. But you know what? I'm not just going to talk about what everyone knows. Let's take it a step up. Is Tyrell Williams done with the Raiders? Will we ever see him on the field again in silver and black? I'm saying no, we won't. That one's for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. The reason why you're not going to see it, he's not playing this year. And guess what? The Raiders can save $11.5 million by cutting Tyrell next season. I was very hopeful for Tyrell. I interviewed him here on the show. I wish him nothing but the best. However, Brian Edwards, it's your turn to step up. Nelson Aguilar, we'll see what we get out of him. Zay Jones, we'll see what we get out of him. But it's Brian Edwards' season now, so next man up, yeah, Brian, you're going to be the reason Tyrell is not going to be a member on this team next year. Let's also look at some other players that we did get some news around that got waived today. Sharif Finch, no longer a member of the team. Nick Nelson, not a surprise there. Jordan Roos, Jordan Devey. Sorry, Jordan. Hopefully you don't unfollow me on IG. And then the most surprising one out of this list, Rod Smith, a big-time running back that I knew this team liked. They signed him in free agency to $905K. They've been looking for a big running back. I can already tell. I'm going to get some questions around Leonard Fournette. Save those, though, for our mailbags coming up. All right, let's get in now to today's news and rumors. Are the Las Vegas Raiders interested in Jadeveon Clowney? I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think that it's pretty likely that this team is interested in Clowney. But one thing I don't want y'all to do is freak out, because a lot of NFL teams are interested in Clowney. It's just been about finding that right price tag. We've seen reports that the Raiders have been pointing around. They've been poking, trying to find that offer. John Gruden has even said himself, yeah, he's a player that I like. The reason why the Raiders haven't pulled the trigger yet is because Mike Mayock doesn't know exactly what he's going to get. Carl Nassib, he continues to struggle in camp. Cleveland Ferrell, if you look, they've been putting him at the defensive tackle position. So the Raiders, in a way, have been kind of leading up to the fact that they could be at least interested in him. But let's face it, right now the Raiders are a good football team. If you add a player like Clowney, you become a contender. Because if you want to beat a team like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, you need to be able to get after the quarterback. Yes, he's had only 3 sacks, but Clowney is a much better pass rusher, much better defensive end than even I give him credit for. So the only way, all right, I would go out and get Clowney. I'll tell you that in a little bit. But the other reason why I know that they want Clowney, he gives you versatility. And that's the one thing that this Raiders team has wanted for a very long time. So this is what I believe the depth chart would look like if you go out and get him. You could put him at left end. You could put him at right end. You can kind of throw him around there. But let's just say, a lot of the time, the Raiders, they've been moving forward to defensive tackle. Guess what? You can do that, and you can then be a little bit more confident in your defensive end, because even though Carl Nassib hasn't been performing, you have Clowney, you have Max Crosby, Malik Collins has been tearing it up, Cleveland Ferrell. But hey, the only way, all right, the only way I am the Las Vegas Raiders and I make that depth chart possible is under these 4 circumstances. 1, you signed Jadeveon Clowney to a 1-year prove-it deal. And in that deal, it is very, very heavy incentives based. Because I don't want a player sitting out. I don't want a lazy Clowney. I want to motivate a Clowney. Because when he is motivated, he is actually a very good football player. Obviously, he needs to pass his physicals. He can't have COVID. And then the last and final way, we need to get John. He's on board. But we also need to get Mike Mayock on board. Because if everyone's on board and he's doing a 1-year prove-it deal, then yes, you go out and get him. So should the Raiders go out and sign Jadeveon Clowney, give me a Y for yes, or I want you to scroll on down and type your N for no. For those of you that are watching this live right now, I will give some shout-outs here. Hungry420 says yes. Kevin Vance says no. Rad TV says no. Derek says yes. And Jacob T all typing yes. Another thing that I'm going to promise you for Chucky heads, if the Raiders go out and they make this move, we will be going live. I can guarantee you that. So make sure you are subscribed to the Raiders Report so you don't miss anything. We covered the Prince Amukamara news. We covered the Tyrell Williams news. And I guarantee you, If Jadeveon comes in silver and black, we're going to be live. We're going to be covering that too. So make sure you hit that big red button so you don't miss anything. Next story here, right? We talked about the Raiders being interested in Clowney. That's great. But what are the actual chances that he becomes a Raider? I'm going to give this one only one chucky head. I do think it's a small shred of truth. So yesterday on our NFL Live show at Chat Sports, we broke down some potential destinations for Clowney. And yes, the Raiders, they deserve to be on that list. They fit into our top 3. With all that being said, I still don't know, and I still don't believe this deal ultimately ends up happening. The multiple reasons, Mayock, if he's not sold on the idea, I haven't really been able to see Gruden fully convince Mayock otherwise. Cap situation, not great also. Plus, Arden Key's been playing well. I don't want to sit here and say Arden Key's going to be the reason they don't get out and get Clowney. But it's money, and if you can't convince both Mayock and Gruden to get the deal done, it's not going to happen. So in our video here, we broke down the top destinations for him. And as you can see, the Las Vegas Raiders, they're at number 3. So for me, I still believe that the Tennessee Titans make the most sense. The Baltimore Ravens are a very interesting team, especially if they win the case against Earl Thomas and they don't have to pay ET that $10 million. The Raiders up there, the Seahawks, and the New Orleans Saints. So those are our top 5 destinations. And I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. Let's play a little bit of a game here, okay? So for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, I want you to scroll on down because you're going to get hit with the YouTube ad break and fill in the blank. If the Raiders sign Jadeveon Clowney, I will blank. All right, let's give some shout-outs here. Freak out, puke. Somebody just said money. Somebody said Tom. And then, yeah, Tyler McMillan also type in freak out. Fill in the blank. If the Raiders sign Jadeveon Clowney, I will. We did cover some breaking news yesterday, and I do want to just recap it on it real quick because maybe you didn't hear Prince Amukamara has been released by the Las Vegas Raiders. What I really started to think about is not only the cut, but how is this going to impact now some younger players? And I found this pretty interesting quote from Amukamara after being cut. I spoke to Mike Mayock this morning. He said that they like where they're at with the young guys, and I respect him. I respect that quote from Prince Amukamara. I also believe that it wasn't so much of him not being able to perform. I think it was more of a veteran at age 31 was told, hey, man, we're going to roll with these rookies. We're going to put them out on the field. And I think Prince, being the vet that he is, was like, well, if you're not going to play me, let me go. Let me go somewhere else where I can fully, be up to my potential. But, hey, if you're a man out there, to make sure that your lady doesn't leave you for some of these young guys as well, make sure you're cleaned up downstairs. Go to manscaped.com/Raiders where you can save 20% off and get free shipping on the Lawnmower 3.0. It fits great in your hand. There's a little light on the end of it so you can see in those hard-to-reach places. The blades, they're changeable, so if you want to shave your downstairs and then you want to shave your face, all I recommend is that you change those blades. They're easy to change. It's rechargeable. You can use it in the shower. I use this bad boy weekly, and it's available to all Raider fans at manscaped.com/Raiders. 20% off, free shipping. Don't get cut like Prince Amukamara. Don't let your girl go after some younger guys. Make sure you guys are staying clean down there. The link for Manscaped, it's in the comments. It's in the description. Click there. Get yourself set up. Let's get back into some of these rumors now, shall we? Isaiah Johnson, you're the next topic here. Is he going to be starting week 1 against the Carolina Panthers? I'm going to give this one only one chucky head, and it is a small shred of truth. If Nevin Lawson was going to be playing, remember he's suspended, it would be 0 chucky heads. Tuck, we'll tuck that. SI, Sports Illustrated, they wrote, Johnson is expected to start. Now, I'm going to respectfully disagree because even though they released Prince Amukamara, that does not mean that they are going to insert Isaiah Johnson into the starting role. I fully expect Trayvon Mullen, who returned to practice on Monday, and Damon Arnett to be the starting cornerback 1 and cornerback 2. There's no reason to believe that that would be anything different. If you hear something else, hey, send it to me on Instagram, send it to me on Twitter. I would absolutely love to talk about it here on the Raiders Report. And on the Raiders Report, I want to know what the nation thinks because SI is going to put out garbage articles. Guess what? We're going to talk about it. We're going to debate about it. Who do you have more confidence in right now? Damon Arnett or Isaiah Johnson? Type DA for Damon Arnett or type IJ for Isaiah Johnson because SI believes Johnson over Damon Arnett. All I'm going to do is respectfully disagree, and I believe a lot of y'all, are typing duh, which is exactly my response, duh, to Damon Arnett over Johnson. The last three rumors here on today's show, we are going to talk a lot about 53-mans because when Prince got let go, it did start to give some extra opportunities, some players like Keisean Nixon. So is Nixon going to be making the 53-man roster? I'm actually going to give this one 3 chalky heads, and I think it's pretty likely. On my original 53-man roster video, I didn't have Nixon making the team. So with some new updates, some new things that came across on him, I do believe it's going to happen. Vic DeFore actually even said that he believes that Nixon could get the bump over a player like Isaiah Johnson. So really when it came down to it, you could see a player like Nixon taking the role of a guy like Isaiah Johnson, which that really lit up my eyes because I do see him playing more of a nickelback role. But hey, if he's better than Johnson, come in for Trayvon here and there, that'd be pretty interesting to see. When I think about the locks, okay, the locks to make the 53-man roster, I think of these 4 guys because last year, the Raiders kept 4 cornerbacks if you count LaMarcus Joyner. So they're keeping Mullen, they're keeping Arnett, they are going to keep LaMarcus Joyner, and then they are also going to keep Amik Robertson. So to me, let's say they keep 6 again. Let's be a little bit critical thinking here. Let's think about who they could potentially get rid of, okay? So if you're keeping those 4 players, well, guess what? You got to cut one of these next 3 because these are the next 3 cornerbacks. You got Isaiah Johnson, you have Nevin Lawson, or Keisean Nixon. I'll tell you what, this is a pretty interesting idea. This is a pretty interesting conversation we're going to have. Nevin Lawson is suspended week 1, but out of the 3 players that you see on screen, if you had to cut one, type IJ for Isaiah Johnson, type NL for Nevin Lawson, or type KN for Keisean Nixon. Let's go to everyone's offseason, I guess, training camp sweetheart, Javin White. And is he going to make the 53-man roster? I'm going to give this one only 2 Chucky heads, and people are talking. 2 weeks ago, I gave it 3. Well, now I'm going to drop it down to 2. And the reason why I'm dropping it down to 2 is because the move of Raekwon McMillan, that makes things a little bit more difficult for a player like Javin White. Now, he's looked great in camp, and he's done just about everything he possibly could to make this team. However, if the Raiders kept only 5 linebackers last season, let's just say they keep maybe 5, potentially 6 this season. Well, you know they're going to keep Corey Littleton. They went out and traded for McMillan. You already have Nick Kwiatkowski, and Nicholas Morrow continues to show well. So when I really think about the locks, okay, players that are going to make the 53-man roster at the linebacker position, it's going to be these 5 players. Now, I understand that Tanner Muse has been struggling, and he has. However, if you cut Tanner Muse, he's going to get picked up on the waiver. Like, there's going to be teams that are going to be interested in him. So you can't let him go. So when I really think about it, I'm like, oh, man. Out of these 4 linebackers, if you're going to keep one of them, who do you keep, right? I mean, it's tough. The Raiders went out and got Kyle Emanuel. You have Justin Phillips, Kyle Wilbur, or Javin White. For me, Justin Phillips, you move on from him. Kyle Wilbur, yes, he was a special teams captain last year. I know the team loves him. But if you're in a youth movement, you move on from him. So it really comes down to Javin White and Kyle Emanuel. Kyle Emanuel did come out of retirement. I personally thought it was a little bit of a depth move. If I'm the Raiders and I want to continue to my youth movement, I'm going to type my JW for Javin White. If you're looking to get the best deal on the internet, guess what? Manscaped, they're hooking up all Raider fans. Go to manscaped.com/Raiders for 20% off and free shipping on the perfect package. What comes in the perfect package? The Lawnmower 3.0. You get ball toner, which basically makes your balls smell good. You also get ball deodorant because, hey, if you're sweaty, you need to not sweat downstairs. I've been told that's not a good thing. So if you got sweaty balls, then go to manscaped.com/Raiders. We wanted to put it on screen. You can get it at the link that you see in the comments and in the description. Also, when you get the lawnmower, or when you get the perfect package, you get the boxers, you get the traveling pack, all for free. Manscaped.com/Raiders, 20% off and free shipping. Last story here on News and Rumors, Theo Riddick. Is he going to make the 53-man roster? This one, again, is going to be 2 Chucky heads, and people are talking. So right before the show started, and I know I kind of kicked it off a little bit, Rod Smith, he got the boot. So what does that mean now for Theo? He's going to be competing with Devontae Booker for that running back 4 role, if you will. Last year, the Raiders, they kept only 4 running backs. And I actually anticipate them keeping only 4 again. So you have Theo Riddick, who sure is a running back, but let's be real. the real reason why he was brought onto this team was to catch the football. A quote from last week that John said, the Raiders want to be able to find backs that can also play receiver. You're not going to find many running backs that can catch the football as well as Theo Riddick. Now, I'll also make the argument, 61 catches, 384 yards, that's not good. So just because you can catch the football, if you can't do anything afterwards, that's not what you're looking for. So here's the updated running back depth chart for this Las Vegas Raiders team. You have Josh, you have Jalen, you have Lynn Bowden Jr. Actually, important note, look for Lynn Bowden Jr. to actually be the main kick returner. Also look for Nelson Aguilar to be the punt return guy. So it's going to come down to Booker. It's going to come down to Theo Riddick. And come on, y'all. You know what I'm going to ask you. It's a tough decision because I do anticipate this Raiders team keeping 4 running backs. You're keeping Josh, you're keeping Jalen Richard, and you're keeping Lynn Bowden. And, of course, you're going to keep Alec Ingold because, yeah, he's the fullback. But I'm not going to count him in the running back discussion. So if you got to keep 4 and you got to keep just 1, who would you end up keeping? So type TR for Theo Riddick, or I want you to type DB for Devontae Booker. Earlier on in camp, Booker was running with the ones. Now, that was because Josh Jacobs was battling some injuries. But also, they did just go out and sign Theo Riddick about 10 days ago. So let us know in the comments section. Type TR for Theo Riddick or type DB for Devontae Booker. Let's give some shout-outs now to some of these votes coming in here because this is a pretty interesting battle. I got Jacob T. He's typing TR. Stupid Stuff is typing TR. Marvin FNDB. I don't know. He's going to go with Theo Riddick. Brian's also going to go with Theo Riddick. Right now, 80% of the votes that are rolling in here on the Raiders Report are going with Theo Riddick. So, I'll be honest, I thought you all would go the other way. But you know what? Sometimes it's all good if you do want to go the other way. So we got Erica's typing DB. Ralph's typing TR. If you got the joke, like the video. I don't know is going to go with Theo Riddick. Eric Salazar, DB. Right now, I am actually going to go in favor of a player like Theo Riddick. But if they did keep Devontae Booker, that also wouldn't surprise me. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.